Hello and welcome to Clip 5. This is the final sort of episode or clip before you come back to school next week. Obviously, there's an essay style question at the end of your exam. Now, what they're going to do here is you're going to be shown one of the 5 pre-design or pre-production documents, and you're going to be asked to evaluate whether it's good or not, or evaluate its effectiveness. Now, spoiler alert, there'll be something good about it and something not good about it. Okay, so first of all, introduce the document and prove to the examiner that you know what it is and what it's supposed to do. Okay, that's your first and opening paragraph. So if you're looking at a mind map, start off by saying what a mind map is, what its purpose is, and what it's meant to be used for. State that straight away. Okay, now in the mark scheme, there are 3 sort of mark bands for this question. And to get into the top mark band, it specifically says that you've got to talk in equal measure about strengths and areas for improvement in what you can see. So there's the spoiler. There's good things about it and not good things about it. And even if you look at it and think it looks terrible, and in the mock exam, the mind map looked terrible, you know, if you can find 3 things that you think could be improved about it, you better find 3 things that are good about it too. Okay, so start off with if you think it's a good example, start off with what's gone well. What features does it have that should be there? If it's the mind map, has it got the subnodes? Has it got the branches? Has it got ideas and content? Is it sensible? Does it match up with the central theme? Why do these things help to suit the product and the aim and the audience of that document? Okay, and then move on to how it could be improved. Or if you think that it's a bad mind map or whatever it is that you're going to see in your exam on Wednesday, if you don't like it or you think, actually, this is pretty awful, start off with what could be improved about it and then talk about, however, here are some of the good bits about it. There will be good things to say and areas for improvement, so make sure you talk about them both. And then bring together your answer with a conclusion about whether it's suitable or not for its purpose, and link that back to the client, which will be in the scenario at the start, and the target audience, and justify your reason using the scenario and the target audience. Okay, you're not going to convince anybody that you know your stuff if you don't link it back to who the target audience is, the client, and that scenario. Okay, it all links back together. So my advice to you before you start writing anything in that essay would be to go back and look at that scenario again. Which brings me to the end of this clip, which is just some top tips for your exam. Okay, and I think it's crucial that you think about how you're going to tackle this paper, because you've got 90 minutes and 60 marks, which means every mark is about 1.5 minutes. Now the essay style question is at the end. And it could be around 12 marks, okay, which is a big chunk of the 60. Okay, it's about 20% of the marks. My advice would be, when you get your exam paper, read that scenario at the start. Okay, highlight, underline key things like target audience, purpose, requirements, any information that you think is crucial. Imagine that you are the person that's going to be making whatever it is that it's talking about. If it's a website, you're going to be the web developer. Okay, and highlight and underline the bits that are really important to somebody who's making that website. Okay. Now, if it was me, I think I'd jump to the essay question and get it out of the way, because I don't want to be writing a big essay 60, 70, 80 minutes into my exam. That's just my personal preference. It's up to you how you tackle yours. But I'd quite like to get the essay question out of the way, or at the very least make some notes, whilst you're feeling fresh and alert at the start of the exam and at your peak about what you think, and then come back to it later on. Make sure you save and spend enough time on those 2 design style questions, okay? And remember that if you're doing a mood board in this exam, some of those images will be completely inappropriate, okay? My advice to you, if that's the question, is to cross out the ones that don't match up with the scenario or the target audience, so that you don't accidentally choose them. Okay. And remember, when you're justifying your choice of image, of text, of colour, of any content in anything that you're designing, link it back to the scenario, link it back to the client, link it back to the target audience. If they give you an age range, link it back to them. It unlocks marks the second that you do that. Okay. It's very, very easy to do. And then as you work through the exam, inevitably you're going to come up with against a question of which you think you know nothing about. Okay. Yesterday we looked at a question that was asking us the difference between a virtual camera and a digital video camera. Now, if we've never talked about that, you're going to have to piece together an answer that makes sense, okay? Now, there are some clues. Virtual usually means that it's not real. So if something's virtual, it's within a computer, okay? We're probably all aware of what a digital video camera is. That's something that you hold in your hand to shoot video with. So what's a virtual camera? Well, it's a software-based camera. It's a camera that's filming a cartoon in a computer. So if you're creating a cartoon within software, for example, like The Simpsons, or maybe a Disney film like Frozen 2, there isn't somebody stood there with a video camera filming what's on the screen. The software that's creating the content is also filming the content. And a virtual camera can be controlled just like a real world camera. So you can zoom in, you can pan out, you can tilt and, and do all of those same kind of camera techniques. But you're just doing it virtually. You're doing it on a computer instead of with a handheld device where you might be using buttons. That's all it is. Now, I think if you think about it in an exam and remain calm, and that's the sort of question you might put a little asterisk next to and come back to later on, you can pick up marks. And that's the key to success, really. There won't be a question in this exam that you can't try. It's as simple as that. You might come up a question of which you think, I don't know, or I'm not sure, but you have the common sense and the understanding and the know-how to come up with a sensible answer. Okay, it's probably only going to be one question. It might not be any at all, but it's possible. And if that question comes up, don't be put off by it. Don't be thrown off by it. Pop a little asterisk next to it, come back to it, but don't leave it blank. A blank question, a question with no answer, always gets 0 marks. A sensible attempt could get 1, could get 2. It could get them all. It might be the right answer. But if you leave it blank, you've got no chance of getting any marks whatsoever. I've been really encouraged by your mock exams. I think, there's some people were a little bit disappointed. Obviously, that's one of the reasons why we put on our great revision sessions yesterday, and we gave you your question level analysis before you went away and extra revision materials. And it's why I've made these videos, so that you can link back into the content and try and make sure that you understand it. But everybody has such huge potential. There's no doubt in my mind that if you spent a good chunk of your holidays studying and revising and preparing for this exam on Wednesday, you've got every chance of nailing it, and I believe in every single one of you. So good luck. We'll see you all for one lesson next week, either on Tuesday or Wednesday before the exam, and then I'll be wishing you every success and praying hard for you all to enjoy the exam and do the best you possibly can. Okay, thanks very much for watching these clips. See you next week.